Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. This movie is directed by Rian Johnson, starring Daniel Craig, Kate Hudson, Jessica Henwick, Edward Norton, Kathryn Hahn, Janelle Monáe, Dave Bautista, Madelyn Cline, and Leslie Odom Jr. Now, spoilers for Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, and for the first Knives Out movie in 2019. I mean, what can I say? I absolutely loved this movie. It had so much in it that I loved, and I remember I never want to pause movies unless it's like maybe I get up to like throw something away, like a wrapper, or like maybe to get some another drink or something, you know, like a snack or whatever. Those are usually the only times I pause a movie. But for this one, I paused it and I was like, because I loved the moment so much, and then I rewound it back, and I just like relived that whole moment because I loved it so much. I thought it was I like moments like that. I like moments where it just like gives you a whole different perspective and moment. So for this movie, let's start from the beginning. So what I really enjoyed about it was they tackled the whole pandemic thing. I mean, a couple of shows do that. A couple things, kind of, not really. But for this one, it felt like very back in the day. What am I trying to say here? I think that the pandemic was like a good chunk of it, or not a good chunk. What am I saying? What I'm trying to say is I like that they kept it in our time. They kept it in today's, because the last one was in 2019, technically, or 2018. But that one was only for like, you know, a week or so, or however long the investigation was going on, right? So it was only for a few days. And then this one's like a whole year after that. And it's like during the pandemic and everything's like closed, everything's shut down, and Benoit Blanc is losing his mind, and you're just kind of like, what's his next challenge? What's his next thing to know? And that's what I liked. I liked that it was like very representative of our time and what we're going through at the moment. Because they could have just totally avoided that and done it like today, I guess, you know, just cut out the whole pandemic. But I guess it kind of adds a little something, or like it's a part of it, you know. I definitely did like that. So because it's set in the pandemic, that means it would have to be back in the day. So it'd have to be 2 years ago before this movie even came out, which offers more opportunities for other films to take place like in 2021 or 2022 or whenever, you know what I'm saying? So I like that. But to the movie itself, I like the box puzzles. I really like the beginning when they have to solve all of the little puzzles inside the box in order to get the envelope or the card inside from Miles Braun. I did really like that. And I also liked how the mom knew all the puzzles. And then at the end of it all, she was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "I have no idea what it is." I really enjoyed Dave Bautista. I enjoyed Dave Bautista a lot. He's so funny, and he's also very, I mean, he definitely has a presence to him, right? You definitely notice him, but it's so funny to see him be like this hyper masculine person, and he's just like being overtaken by his mother, and both like, I guess, dominance and in smarts. So she's really smart and she's dominant over her son, but her son is like this machismo, big, strong guy. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. Kathryn Hahn does a good job in this movie. Leslie Odom Jr. does a good job in this movie. Kate Hudson is kind of like the brainless model sort of figure, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's not. I guess it just ties into the whole theme of the movie, or like, it's a character you need for this kind of a story, I guess, for comedic relief, for talking points, for other things, I guess. Jessica Henwick plays Kate Hudson's assistant. Her name is Peg. And she has a very real motive for trying to kill Miles Braun, or Edward Norton's character, who's this billionaire. He's this big tech billionaire who owns this whole island, and he invites all of them over to his island so that way they can enjoy a happy weekend together. And that happy weekend is like supposed to be figuring out how to solve his death, his murder, essentially. So we're shown his private island. We're going out to this boat. Everybody's arriving in Greece, I think, to meet him, to go to the island and whatnot. And what ends up happening is Janelle Monáe's character, Cassandra Brand, shows up. And nobody's happy about this. Everybody's like, oh, snap. No way. No. Why is she here? This is so terrible. And she showed up because, well, essentially, Edward Norton's character, Miles Braun, and Janelle Monáe's character started a business together, this tech business called Alpha. And because of Alpha, they became billionaires and everybody got super successful and big time and everybody was doing whatever, right? But he kind of just sliced her out of it. He pushed her out of the whole business. And Janelle Monáe's character shows up to exact revenge on him, essentially. She's there so that way, she has every reason to kill him. And then Leslie Odom Jr. is Lionel, and Kathryn Hahn is Claire. And they both have reasons to kill Miles. And Kate Hudson's assistant can kill Miles, and Dave Bautista can kill Miles because he's having sex, or he's supposedly in a relationship with Whiskey, who's Madelyn Cline's character. It's a whole thing. So essentially all you need to know is everybody has a reason to kill Edward Norton, to kill Miles Braun in this movie, right? Everybody has a reason to do it. Everybody has motive. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody has the same reasons to. And Daniel Craig, who's Detective Benoit Blanc, is just kind of there. And Miles Braun is talking to Benoit, and he's like, yo, what's going on? Why are you here? I didn't invite you to this place. And Benoit's like, well, I got a box. I'm here. They showed up, and I don't know what's going on. And so he was just kind of like, well, you can stay if you want. So then Miles, right? Miles takes it upon himself to kind of talk to the group or try to explain everything to Benoit. And then explaining it, Janelle Monáe's character, Cassandra Brand, she comes in and she gives this big speech, this big moment of you guys all suck. You're all terrible people. And then walks away and then leaves, right? And then later on at the dinner, they do the whole murder mystery game, right? Where Miles is trying to tell everybody, you can solve the crime, who killed me, why they killed me, and, give your proof and evidence or whatnot, right? And Benoit comes up with it quick. It's Kate Hudson, Birdie J, who did it. And it's because Miles took her signature Ren diamond from back when she was a model and whatnot. It was this whole thing. That's not even the real murder. That's not even the real mystery. What the real murder and the real mystery is, and this is a spoiler, it's Dave Bautista, right? He dies. He drinks Miles Braun's glass, and he dies right then and there. And immediately, everybody thinks that Miles immediately thinks that somebody tried to poison him. Somebody tried to kill him. And because somebody tried to kill him, Benoit has to discover who killed Dave Bautista and who tried to kill Miles. So now it becomes this whodunnit thing, right? And this is about I don't know, I want to say a third of the way into the movie. And then all of a sudden, there's this big dong, hourly dong that happens, and it becomes 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, choo, the lights go out. And then it's chaos. It's absolute chaos. Nobody knows where anything is, what's going on, what's happening. So people are running around, people are doing whatever. And eventually Benoit comes up to Cassandra and they start having a conversation and whatnot. And it's during that time that Cassandra gets shot. Nobody sees who the shooter is. And Cassandra's on the ground and she's dead. She's shot. Dead, dude. And Benoit goes back upstairs with everybody to the dining hall and whatnot. And he has to explain what happened and what's going on. And this is where we get a flashback back into the past. And it shows not Cassandra Brand, but Helen Brand, Cassandra's twin sister, arriving with the box that Miles sent out to everybody, right, with all the puzzles and stuff. And we saw that Helen had broken into the box without solving any of the puzzles. And essentially, this whole flashback was to demonstrate that Helen hired Benoit to go to the island. And then Benoit, right, tells Helen, no, you have to be there in order to confuse everybody, in order to really set into motion what's going to happen, Daniel Craig Benoit is essentially the only black sheep in the whole herd. He's the one that nobody knows is supposed to be there. I mean, he's not supposed to be there. So everybody else is invited but him. And so he sets up this whole elaborate ruse, this whole elaborate thing to kind of deceive, investigate, and learn what really happened to Cassandra Brand, who Helen is told committed suicide, which is not the case. Cassandra was murdered, and Benoit is going to get to the bottom of it. And so they show the whole island, the whole experience on the island, and they re-show us important moments, from Helen's perspective, trying to behave and act like her sister. And that whole sequence, that whole flashback to delivering the box, to them planning, to them actually being on the boat, to them being on the island, to investigating, figuring out clues, to Benoit and Helen talking about motives and opportunities and learning about who was there, who wasn't there, why people were there, Jared Leto's kombucha. Like, it was all so much, and it was all really good. It was a perfect moment, and I like those moments where it's like you look at it from one person's perspective, or you look at it from like one angle and it looks like that. And then you look at it from another perspective, somebody else, and it's completely different. And I love those moments. And it's why I paused it and I had to go back and rewatch it, because I was like, this is so good. And then eventually we get to Benoit Blanc breaking it all back down. And it all starts going back to what Miles Braun initially said happened, which was Duke Cody, played by Dave Bautista. He says that he took Miles' drink by mistake. But what actually ended up happening was Miles gave Duke his drink and killed him. And it wasn't even clever. It wasn't even brilliant. It was just him putting pineapple juice in Duke's whiskey, which Duke cannot have because he's allergic to pineapple. He's allergic to pineapple juice or whatever. And it's because of that he dies. He dies of an allergy. Then we get to who took Duke's phone that's been giving him Google alerts, who took his gun to shoot Helen. And it all comes together, and it's all centered, it's all deep-rooted. And the one person who had the most to lose from Helen's sister Cassandra revealing the absolute truth, that she created the tech company Alpha. And the reason she can prove this is through intellectual property of a napkin where she wrote the whole idea of alpha. That was the whole thing. Except the only problem was Cassandra didn't remember or necessarily keep the napkin. She didn't know where it was or where she kept it. Until one day she finds it. She destroys her whole bookshelf, and it's in the book that she wrote it on, right? And it's right there looking at her in the face. She puts in this red envelope. She tucks it in her back pocket, and she emails everybody saying, I found it. Yo, what's up? And that is when Miles kills her. He puts sleeping pills in her tea and her coffee or whatever. She goes to sleep. He puts her in the car with the gas turned on or whatever, and she dies, right? That's the whole thing. And then he stole Duke's gun. When the lights turned out, he went to shoot Helen. And it all came from Benoit. He didn't even come up with this on his own. It was all so dumb, so cleverless, not in any way brilliant. So Benoit is like, oh, snap, this sucks. This really, really sucks. You're a terrible person. And Helen has the napkin, the proof to put Miles Braun in the coffin. This will make him go to jail forever, right? So he burns it, right? And this is what I don't like, is that she had it right in front of him. He's holding a lighter in his hand. She's showing it to him, and he just, boom, burns it. I don't like it. It's just like, hold on to that. Don't give him any opportunity to like rip it or burn it or put water on it. Like, don't give him any opportunity to grab it. That was my only thing, is like, gosh, you have the evidence right there. Or she could have taken a picture of it, right? Or a video or something. But I guess in the heat of the moment, you really don't want to. And it's more so like you have to have the actual proof there. If you just take a picture of it. But she did have her phone on her because she checked, because she needed to Google her sister, because it became news that her sister got killed. Her sister died. So I don't know why she wouldn't just take a picture of it. I mean, if it were me in that situation, like, I finally have the irrefutable proof that, one, he took it, and two, it's in his possession. You know, one, and then I take a separate photo of the napkin he wrote, and then I take the photo of my sister's napkin, and then I compare the two, and then we're able to, like, tell the truth, right? That's what I would have done. I would have taken a picture, you know, some sort of other proof of it being alive, of it actually being there. You know, but hey, I get it. So anyways, long story short, the napkin burns, and everybody's really terrible people. I mean, Kate Hudson, Madelyn Cline, Leslie Odom Jr., Kathryn Hahn. I mean, all of them suck. They're terrible people. Well, maybe not Whiskey. Maybe not Madelyn Cline. She was not really involved in the gang. But, you know what I'm trying to say is, like, these people suck, and they suck because they won't step up. They won't lie for the truth, as Helen says. It's really sad to see what happens to people. But in the long run, Helen gets her revenge, and in the only way possible, she uses Miles' greatest strength, or what he believes is his greatest strength, against him, right? She uses the perfect new fuel, the clear energy source fuel, against him. She sets ablaze everything in the apartment, in the mansion, I guess, in the Glass Onion. She sets everything ablaze, and then she throws the clear into it, and then boom, the whole place explodes. I really expected everybody to die, because, like, how do you, in a fire that big, I mean, it's essentially a bomb. I don't know how they didn't die, but all of that to say, Miles Braun loves the Mona Lisa, and he actually bought the Mona, well, not bought, but he rented the Mona Lisa, because during the pandemic, I guess the Louvre, or wherever they keep the Mona Lisa, was nobody was spending money to go see it because it was locked down. So the place that was holding the Mona Lisa needed money, so he bought it. They transported it over to his island, and boom, there it is. And what happens during the fire? Well, Helen burns it. It burns up because of Miles's new clear energy source. And that's what essentially brings him down. And that's what's going to turn everybody against him. He's ruined. He's essentially finished. He burnt the most beautiful painting in the world, the most famous painting in the world, the real painting. And he's gonna pay severely for it. And then, only then, does everybody decide to step up? Does everybody decide to, when they figure out that finally Miles is done for, when he's not going to get away with this, he's really done for, and he's like going to crumble down, that's when they decide to be like, to build up some courage and be like, I actually saw the napkin. I saw him burn it. I saw him blow up the Mona Lisa. Like, we all saw that. That's when everybody decides to, grow a spine, I guess. And Helen gets revenge for her sister. She brings down Miles Braun, and Benoit Blanc is smoking a cigar. The world is just perfect for Benoit Blanc. And I have to say, in all, this movie was so fun. And it was so funny as well. There were so many great moments in this movie, and it made me rewatch the first one, and then I rewatched this one. I mean, this one just so good. The talent of the actors worked so well. Everybody fits so perfectly. And I just really enjoyed the murder mystery aspect. Sometimes you watch like a mystery and it's pretty quick. You can find out pretty quickly who did it or what's going on. You ever watch CSI Miami? It's kind of like that. Like, I know the person who did it was the first person to ever get interrogated, right? We know that. It's very rare that the last person is like caught or whatever. It's usually somebody who did it at the beginning that they interrogated early on, that got away, and then they do something else that's bad, and then they catch them, right? And this one, it's pretty clear who did it, but they swing you in all kinds of different directions, which is so fun. I mean, I just love it. And I really have to appreciate Daniel Craig and Janelle Monáe. They really held this movie together for me, and it was so fun. And the rest of the cast is also fantastic. I thought it was just good to see all of them interact and figure out like their motives and them as characters, And I would love to see more movies like this. This is just, I think, the second of many films. And I just really love the character of Benoit Blanc. He's very charismatic. It's really Daniel Craig, It's so fun. It's so unique. It's so clever. And it's just a modern day Sherlock Holmes, I guess, or whatnot. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. The only, and that's because the new film that Netflix is pushing, this Enola Holmes, right, with Millie Bobby Brown, which is I also like, but that one's a period piece. There's no modernity to it, right? But this one feels, is definitely modern. It's definitely in today's time. It's definitely doing things that we all would know. And I just really like that. And I have no idea where they're going to go for the next one, but I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. And I just like these big ensemble casts. Although I do think that a lot of them are underused, but I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. So, at the end of the day, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, is great. It's fantastic. You gotta go give it a watch. It's on Netflix right now. I mean, what a perfect film for the holidays, you know? And I watched this on my own time. It was just so fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. And if you like murder mysteries, you're going to love this too. So thank you guys so much for listening. Definitely go check out Glass Onion. And I will see you guys all next time. Thank you.